Evening all. So welcome to low Earth orbit on new Caldari Prime. In fact, it's probably low planet orbit, isn't it? Anyway, here we go. This is the event. Shit is getting real in new Caldari Prime. This is actually just above the orbit of the planet. There is a Caldari Navy Titan, and it's got a support fleet next to it. Now, this is all linked to the fact that there are kind of an escalation of hostilities between the Caldari and the Galactic Federation. So this is kind of all linked to it. Now this is obviously part of the event in Dust as well. So as you can see, we're kind of just jumping around the planet here. You can see that obviously Eve is such a great thing to show the planets and their best. And obviously there's a lot of lore going on in this system because there's a lot of wreckage from previous fights. Now Luminaire 7, which is new Caldari Prime, has basically a population of Galante citizens on it that are being kept basically on the planet blockaded. So this is why there's a huge amount of animosity when it comes to this particular planet. And as you can see, the Caldari Navy were firing on anybody who came too near their Titan. And as you can see, this mega rifter here, this Minmatar ship, tanks them all. But really, this was kind of this was really all that was going on. It was a kind of thing where if you came too close, you got shot. So nothing too spectacular to report, but there was a particularly sizable fleet in orbit, and obviously that NPC Titan in orbit. So stuff's kind of escalating. Caldari taking no shit. So here we go. So now let's go down into Dust now. So here we go. Ooh, blop. There we go. So now we're going into Dust, and all of the fighting of this event was happening on new Caldari Prime. So obviously the mercs had been deployed, and shit was getting real, as we would say. And really, I think the purpose of these fights was just to to start, I think, showing certainly the link between the two, but also the fact that you could have this event in Eve that's also going on in Dust as well, which is awesome. I love that. So the maps are different. That's probably the first thing you'll notice. When you do these events, obviously we had in Hades 2. This is obviously now new Caldari Prime or Luminaire 7. These are slightly different maps. So this is a single objective. So I guess it's a kind of nice balance between an ambush and a skirmish. I really quite like it because it's still got a bit of tactical capability, but it's also really much attack and defend. Which I think really works well, so really quite enjoyed it. And I think, again, I don't quite understand what people's rationale for everything was here, but people were just spamming Prototype and Aurum for it to. It seemed a bit odd, really. I think events must be like the highlight in a lot of people's day. If you run ambush continually, you're probably so bored of it, you just think, right, okay, there's an event, woohoo, let's throw our best stuff at it, which I can understand. Now, what I'm actually doing here is I'm doing tank baiting. I've got a pretty decent anti-tank fit on this scout suit, but I need the kind of tank to come near me, and I've got obviously the squad mates around me with things like flux grenades. So versus Caldari, that's pretty much a nice thing. But the guy didn't come, and obviously I'm just wasting my AV grenades here on this dude. But pretty much it was it was just a tank spam. So we took great delight in destroying every single one that we could, and obviously this is a bit of an OMS here, so obviously things are dropping in. So this supply depot just appeared. Just as I'm about to hack it, blap, I got hit. That's always the way. So I respawned as a forge gun, and basically my mission was to take out this tank. Nothing can stop me in that mission. And I think it was a militia, but it was well fit, I must give it that. And again, it looks like a Seeker to me, so either he's armor and shield tanked, or I'm seeing things. But it was a blast. I really enjoyed it, and I think here we go. No, you don't. Boom. So no, it looked like a Soma, didn't it? Yeah, but it was a good fight, and I think certainly people were loving and spawning in all their tanks and stuff, and it was fun. There must have been 10 plus tank kills on for both sides here. It was just ridiculous. People were just spamming stuff. But it was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Got rezzed, and then I'm back in the fray, shooting another tank. And it just became like, every 5 seconds a tank was being spawned in and somebody was going through it. And I love that. I think the level of commitment is just going to be awesome. Think about these planetary conquest modes. Once that's active, think about how serious these fights are going to get. At the moment, instant battles are kind of a frivolity, There's no real kind of bad blood. There's just a bit of fun, really. People, just having fun really. So I think when the planetary conquest starts to begin, and then all of a sudden people's income is going to be affected, you're going to have some really wonderful metagaming opportunities, because people are going to be really, I don't know, it will be actually, they'll take it quite personally if you start to invade and take space, or rather territory. So it's going to become so cool. I can't wait for it. And I think, you know, when you've got the income of clones, if that's going to be the currency maybe of Dust, the proper maybe currency, then I think that's just going to be fantastic, because all of a sudden, oh, cripes, tank. I think that's going to really be the beginning of a you know, fantastic kind of grudge match between certain teams, because they're really going to take it personally if you start to take their stuff. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. But I think certainly with this event, you know, obviously there's stuff happening in this system that are obviously linked to all the events, and I think really at the moment we're not really seeing fully truly what was going on. Obviously they had that you know, Caldari Titan that had been hit, crashed on the planet, and there'd been some huge, you know, desolation going on, but that wasn't present on this map, so that was a bit of a gutter, but never mind, what can you do? But I think certainly that's probably where it's leading. It's going to be this huge event where, you know, basically stuff's going to really go down. I would maybe stress that on some of these events, if there was a mechanic that they could switch off to allow anybody to do orbital bombardments, you would have this wonderful beginning of a kind of of an naive group of players really just, you know, trolling the Dust guys. But I think they can't really do that until there is the ability to shoot back. Now again, the mechanics of that are completely unknown and hidden at the moment, but I think once it's out, once you have Dust teams who, if they are capable and competent enough and don't get orbitaled like I did just then, and they can actually control, you know, the cannons that fire back, then I think that's going to be just fantastic. And I can't wait for it. I think it's just going to be amazing stuff. But again, I don't know how it's going to work with 0-0. I don't know how it's going to work with certain other mechanics. But again, you know, I think it's going to be pretty cool. But there we go. So lost that one. We played continually, but again, the servers started to get a bit twitchy, so I've only really kind of shown one today. But the event was just awesome. And again, I would stress, when you see these events, obviously look out. If you're not on Twitter, if you're not on Facebook or anything like that, maybe consider doing that, because you do then get a bit of warning that these things are coming. And they're worth doing, because obviously this is part of a sort of special drop suit yet again. So, and all you do is you go to the Merc tab, as I've shown there, and you join the battle. And I tell you what, you can do it on your own, or you can do it as a group. But, you know, consider doing it, because it's actually really good fun. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed that. More next time.